You are watching the Back to the Future boat build, and this is episode 16, where we are finishing off the sleeper cabin this week. Last week we did a lot of good stuff with the deck, a little boot area. We got all the side panels cut and wet down and put in place. And now they've had time to dry, so we can spend this week making things look really good in there. We're gonna sand the boot well area and throw some gel coat on that. We're gonna pull those panels off and wrap them in marine vinyl. As well, we are going to, cut ourselves a headliner, and we're gonna wrap that in marine vinyl and install that. So by the end of the week, we're gonna have ourselves a really nice, functional, ready to go sleeper cabin. In this little pocket, 1.5 inches between the headliner and the ceiling or the bow deck, we're going to try to fit some electrical for lighting in there, but we're also going to try to fit a tube as tight as we can to fit it in that space. And that tube is basically the anchor tube, I'm calling it. So a couple episodes ago, we made a little anchor pocket up at the bow, and the bow roller sits in there. And the rope is going to transition from the bow roller, and then it's going to go into a hole, which will house this tube. The tube will come around the left side and spit out here in the middle of this left side gunnel, which then will be able to be used with the capstan to pull up the anchor. So it seems pretty simple, but when I put this 1.5 inch ABS in place months ago, I was always intending to just use 1.5 inch ABS all the way up there. Well, one, it's too thick, and the headliner, it's just not going to work with the headliner and all the margins that I have around the bow hatch. So what we're going to do is I've cut it back, the 1.5 inch ABS. That's the black pipe, and we're going to use this fitting, which will downsize the 1.5 inch. This just happens to be a threaded fitting to a 1-inch pipe, and the pipe I've chosen is this electrical conduit. So it comes in all different thicknesses and stuff, but the 1 inch is what I want because my pipe, or my anchor rope, is 5/8 inch thick, so give a little space and won't bind up. But this fitting will get glued, and this will get glued to the end of the ABS. I'm gonna have to do a bend up about 6 inches to be able to get it nice and tight to the top of the ceiling in there, and then it's going to bend around and pop out at that bow anchor area. So we'll start with that. Once that's done, then we can really get good measurements for our headliner. Well, the anchor tube is in place now. I've got it snugged up really tight to the top of the ceiling. I just secured it to the blocking that I put there for the headliner support. So that's good to go. Next stage is to take out all of the side panels, bring them up to the table, because we're going to start wrapping those in marine vinyl. I've got myself my marine vinyl, and I'm gonna put it here on my little table. Okay. Bring in my template right here. Now what I'm going to do is when I trace it, because I want to be able to stretch it around the corners or around the edges, I'm going to give it about a 2-inch margin. So I'm going to find something 2 inches and get my marker, and I am going to go pretty much just now just to start cutting it out. So we're gonna flip this over now. onto the back. That, so that it fits there. Wonderful. So we need to glue this side, the one that I've marked with the R, the right side, and the back of the fabric, the marine vinyl. But just because I'm working in a confined area here, I'm going to do this side first, move it aside. It needs to tack up and dry to so that you can touch it. That takes usually about 15 minutes. So I just got that Wellwood adhesive here. Got some throwaway brushes, a roller. I like the longer handle so I can get to where I need to go. And for the ease of use, I am going to just pour some in here. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it's not like I've done huge panels like this before. This is solvent-based, so it is kind of stinky. After I get these two done, I'm gonna open all the doors and windows. But I think I've done smaller panels and I've done various other things. So if I'm careful and we don't let these two things touch, because once the contact cement's there, it's supposed to not be able to come off that easily. So we will start by just rolling. It is kind of, as my son would say, like boogies, Daddy. You got some boogies. But we just want to make sure we get our edges really well. Now, a gallon is supposed to be able to do 100 square feet, so like a 10 by 10. And when you think about it, you're actually kind of doing two sides usually. And this is just like any other painting. You don't want to be too thick. But the good thing about this stuff is that it is quite a bit thinner than regular contact cement. And it seems to dry pretty fast. All right, let's keep it going. All right, I think it is dry enough. So the key is going to be able to get it on and roll it on. Well, let's give it a shot. Hit the edges up with some spray adhesive. Just gonna make some little slits at the corners, make my life a little bit easier. I'll keep this spray just in case. Put there. Start on this side here, okay? Let's go nice and tight and bend it over, bend it over, bend it over, bend it over, bend it over. Okay, scissors. All right, let's take a look. Let's see what we're working with here. Oh yeah. Okay, look at that. Work out any. Just gently with my hands, I can flatten it down, making sure that contact cement is getting bonded, but wow. Oh yeah, just a gentle, if there's any air bubbles, just working them out gently. Now that is satisfying. How awesome is that? Yeah. Woo! And now, because I've already drilled all the holes beforehand, when I fit and bent this panel, testing it, I now know from the back end where all the screw holes are, and I can mark them out so that they can go back into their spot and they're all evenly spaced. I have a decorative screw cap that I'm going to put on the screws to kind of pretty it up a bit. But my next idea is, just in case there's a lot of condensation, somehow there's, you know, a buildup of whatever, sweat, humidity, and it could get trapped between the bow or the hull and this layer here. I don't want this wood to rot out, so just on hand I have some underlayment from a flooring job that I did not too long ago, but it's not enough to use for a floor anymore, but it's just enough to put on the back of these two big panels and maybe the headliner. It's got a vapor barrier to it, so if I put the vapor barrier to the wood and I put this facing up, it should give it more insulation and gives kind of a waterproofing barrier to that. It's overkill, I don't need it, but I'm doing this once, I'm gonna do it right, and I think this little thing might be a good little hack just to, yeah, to give me extra added insurance down the road. So look at that. So the panel's all dressed up nice on the back. And then with the extra little bit of insulating factor, and then on the front. Okay, so next stage is to do it again. We got one more to do, and then all the edge banding. Okay. Both of the panels are done. We got the fronts and the backs done. You know, the backs are all insulated, vapor barriered. The fronts are beautiful. They just look awesome. So I haven't put them in yet, but we're gonna slide them in now. I'm gonna screw them to the ribs, and then I got that front little bow tip piece in there too. We're gonna screw that to those ribs. Once those are in place, we can then really do a good template, measure out the headliner, cut that in plywood, and then wrap that in the teal marine vinyl. Okay, so before I put them in, I'll just give you one last look of the sleeper cabin all insulated. It is looking pretty good. And yeah, next I'm just gonna slip these suckers in. that's all done. That's all done. That's all done. Whew. I don't know if it's the fumes in here or whatnot, but feeling a little good, feeling a little wacky. Panels done. So the headliner panels, these were the big ones. I wrapped them in the vinyl, and then I ended up putting this backer on it just to clean it up because I want the edges to stay curled and stuck forever. And I figured this backer would not only hold the edges down, but just, you know, clean it up, because these panels are gonna come in and out, up and down throughout their life many times. Now this is a membrane. It's an anti-fracture membrane that I use for when I do tile renovations. It goes on the concrete and it keeps the tiles from cracking. But it's bitumen based and it has a sticky back to it already. So it'll give it a little bit of waterproofing quality, I think. I hope. That being said, I got it on the back of all of them. These are the wings. I just think it cleans it up a bit. So, next stage is to get down in the hole. I gotta get back down in the hole. Get back down in the hole. Get back down in the hole. Yeah, I gotta get in the hole again. Test fit everything. I have backing blocks in the ceiling that I glued over time, and now I got to line those backing blocks up with the panels, mark them, drill them for screws, and then put the right screws in so that doesn't crack the backing blocks or go through the bow deck. Lots of little details to think of when you're doing it. Of course, when I finish that, I gotta take them all down again and do some electrical. So back down in the hole. I gotta get back down in the hole. Back down in the hole. Everybody get back down in the hole. Let's go. All right. Boom, 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 boom. It's a headliner hustle. Headliner hustle. Okay, do the hustle, the headliner hustle. It's a tussle. Use some muscle. And, oh, that's pretty good. Okay, fit. That's that leading edge there. Put that down. That looks good. Like a margin. That's good. That'll be better when it's fully sealed. Okay. These are the bricks. Break it down, break it down, break it down. Guzzle the water and do the headliner hustle. Guzzle. Oh, was this on the whole time? What the heck? All right, there we go.
panels installed.
See you next time!